Hello gentlemen, welcome to another concept review. We are here on Manor myself in the IS-4 and the great Cornholio, as he would say it, in the T-57 Heavy. Now, today we're going to be covering situations that only get worse, which are one of the main causes of games being lost. Not through people doing the wrong thing, although, don't get me wrong, there is a lot of that to go around, but through people not doing anything. Just staying in a static engagement for the entire game and not letting what's going on around them on the battlefield influence their play. That's exactly what we're going to be talking about here. We're going to talk about different types of situations that only get worse, how you should respond to them, and what you can do to win the game for your team if you recognize these things, because these are situations that prompt action from you, and you have to take an action when you see what is going on. And so, in this game, we've decided to take the field in our Tier 10 Heavies. And you're going to see some very good teamwork here as we cross. I know that Korn's got about 50 at the most, maybe 76 millimeters of side armor, whereas I've got 160. So I'm going to constantly be playing as his side armor because I'm the well-armored tank. He's going to take a lot of fire if I'm not here. So you will see us slowing. Korn slows up there, and I'm going to slow up while he has his tracks blown off here. And we're going to keep each other covered as we move in, spotting the enemy, and indeed the Korean pattern goes down to the IS-7. Now, you might be realizing at this point that this is a patch 9.13 when you play, so you're hearing the old sounds again, which, in my opinion, are just infinitely better than the new ones. And God, can we not go back to this, please? We just about made it over. I'm fighting on the move, not willing to stop in front of all these tanks. And then the ISC-152 fires HE at our tracks. And we've given up one in turn, but we're kind of stuck out in the open here. Thank God the IS-7 misses with 5 hit points above a one-shot for that guy. And Korn's putting out harassing fire as I get down into the dip. Now, I thought this game was a good example. Those of you who've seen my my Archie rant video will have seen this game already, but I thought to cover it in more depth because it's a perfect example of a situation that only gets worse. I mean, I'm on low health here. If I didn't have Korn, I'd be dead. They do rush me, but here's an E50M. And this is a situation that's only going to get worse. We've got a T-57 Heavy. If that IS-7 advances, we know there's another IS-7 over there as well. Right now, we have some health to squander. We can get that E-50 out. We can focus him down right now and take that damage, but it's only going to get worse. The enemy are only going to have more forces into this engagement, and obviously we're holding back around this corner for fear of the enemy arty getting involved in this combat. That's why we didn't push up to this area, because we knew the arty would kill us. And right now our arty is most likely focusing up on people like our IS-7, but right now if we leave the C-50M alive, we're going to lose this engagement. So we've swapped places. Korn's going to take the first hit once he's loaded, and we're going to make sure we get the Z50 out before the IS-7 gets involved in the engagement. We are taking a bit of damage, but he's for certainly going to go down, and we can fall back to reload with the RT missing. And you can see how if we had waited, and I'm taking the front here while Korn is reloading, if we had waited, those IS-7 would have come down with the E50M up front. We would have been set to take a lot more incoming fire, but because we acted quickly, knowing that the engagement only is going to get worse, we were able to make a fairly good play here. Now, I'm going to take you to basically some more examples of this concept, of situations that are only going to get worse over time, and we're going to look at how you can respond to them and how you can recognize them. Okay, hello there, welcome to Abbey. Let's set the scene for you, shall we? Mid to late stage of the game. Now, I'm still in full health after not finding anything to my fancy on any of the other flanks. I've decided to take the middle. Now, there is a platoon on the enemy team of a Panzer 58 Mertz and a Cent 1, who I know will be guarding the middle. But I still think it's worth taking the middle position because other than them it is undefended and it does look like we're going to win either the eastern or the western flank. I don't know because it's not actually happening. Luckily they miss most of their shots, all of their shots, as I take the middle. So I'm roaming about in here. Maybe I'll put out some shots into the eastern flank. Maybe one of their TDs gets spotted in base. Maybe I should have that as well. Maybe I put out some fire onto the west side as well. Fine. Grand. How much fun was that? Yay. And so now I'm focusing up on the east. Now, why is it important to know that these guys are in their platoon? Well, because platoon play influences playstyle, doesn't it? If two people are in a platoon, assuming it's not dynamic, because that doesn't really mean anything. If people are in a conventional platoon, then they will be together, they will do the same thing, and that can tell you a lot about the playstyle of certain people. It can even allow you to locate tanks that have not been spotted or haven't even shot in the game. For example, if an AMX-30 was platooned to an object 704, someone on your team takes 750 alpha damage from the back of the map. Okay, the 704's back there. That means that the AMX-30 is up on that hill spotting for him, because they wouldn't be on separate flanks. You can make those kind of judgments. That's why it's important to look at who's in the platoon with who, and it's something that I use quite a lot to locate tanks and to indeed outplay tanks. So we know that if one of them attacks the middle, they're both going to attack the middle, and that's what goes into this judgment call when you will make it. So I'm in the middle, I'm just chilling, maybe I'm shooting out the other flank, and suddenly, okay, and there we go. So I see that Cent 1. Now, because these guys are in their platoon, I know that they're both going to come together. Now, they are on half health, but Object 4 and 6, famously low hit pool. Although I've got that beautiful 100mm cannon, it's the T-54's gun basically, that awesome DPM, if they both attack me at once, I'm dead. My only opportunity right now is to charge out with violence of action, with aggression from the offset. That's the only way I'm going to be able to win this engagement, because if I let them group up and plan their engagement against me, I'm going to lose. So, pushing straight out, get the first shot out before the Mertz gets into the engagement, and the Mertz bounces, and we reload in time to hit the second shot off, which is crippling to the Cent 1, blowing his head clean off. And then more aggression. We know that we've got that T-54 DBM against the Mertz. He's going to get one more shot into us most likely, but we managed to come out on top of that engagement. And that is purely because we came out on top by pretty much one shot. And it was only the aggression of action that allowed us to come out on top of that. And that's what I want to hammer home to you. In situations like this, where you can make a judgment that, okay, the team are going to get more forces to this engagement, I'm going to get attacked by a platoon in this situation, then you've got to go. You've got to take the engagement out of their hands. Say, no, we're going to do this on my terms. We're going to do this fast. We're going to do this now before you get into a position that you like to engage me. And it's simple as that. Let's move on to another engagement. Okay, gentlemen, hello. Welcome to Abbey once again. We're in the 260. And I'm moving up this flank with the rest of my team. That's got about maybe 10 tanks on my team. We're all going up this flank together. And there's the opposition. Let's go! We've got enough forces to win this really easily. And we kill this Cent ridiculously easily and push past. Okay, fine and dandy. We got 10 tanks on this flank. Now, at this point, through knowledge of how easily we push this flank, knowing that we've got 10 tanks, it's basic maths. We got 10 tanks over here, the enemy only had 1. Therefore, they have a greater force than us on the other flank, or they're camping base really, really heavily. So, I know that instantly, I don't want to push into the enemy base, because I guarantee you in a situation like this, your team will do that. You have people who will yellow the enemy base for you. You don't need to do it. But once you get to that skill level where you're thinking, okay, I might need to fall back to base. Believe me, there will be other people around you, not at that skill level, who will just yellow in for you. So don't worry about not getting base pressure up. At this point, you need to turn around, because it's anticipation at this point. You know that the situation at your base is only going to get worse because of the ease at which you won this engagement. You won it so easily, and you had 10 of your tanks behind you, pushing this flank, and the enemy had nothing here. Therefore, they are going to come blitzing down the 8-9 line very, very quickly, and sooner or later, they are going to be in your base, and at that point, you're already going to be in a position to deal with it, because, hey, you watched this video, and now you're saving games like this when all of your team have yellowed up into a useless position to mount an offensive on the enemy base when the enemies had a load of base campers that you already knew about because of thought processes, and you're able to relieve cap pressure for your team and then work up to the middle of the map and support your Panzer 58 Mercs and the rest of your team as they attack offensively on the enemy base. Let's look at another situation. Alright, here we are on the 600-meter brawling fiasco of a map, Ensk. And we're having a beautiful little heavy tank fight here. We're just chilling. It's nice, isn't it? But you can see how concerned I am about the other flank. I'm looking over there and I'm thinking, well, this is really not gonna go well at all. Look at that. I mean, clearly the enemy sent one, or the enemy 5, 6, 7, 8 tank force that is over there is going to wipe out that side of the map. But due to the fact that, well, we're not that good of a player, we haven't recognised that, and we continue fruitlessly making this brawling fight with the enemy heavies, even up to the point that we get outflanked by all of the enemy's forces on the other side. They come all the way around and they box dust it in. This is one of the most common mistakes that people make, is playing too passively, because in this situation you've still got the enemy heavies, or 3 or 4 of the enemy heavies, however many they had, garrisoned against you frontally, and you've got the rest of the enemy tanks coming up your ass. Like, that is not good. And from my point of view, it's much better to have died before this stage, trying to win it, so that you could then fall back and defend base, than it is to just let the enemy box you in and just die pointlessly, getting pretty much no shots off. So, let's rewind, shall we? We recognised at this point that we're probably going to lose the east of the map, so our only option at this point, whether we like it or not, is aggression. So we're going to push forward and we're going to tank the fight to the enemy. We're going to try our best to take this guy down before our eastern flank clears up. And the earlier you recognise this, the better it will be for you, because you have more time to react, more time to take down big behemoths like this German heavy that we're engaging right now. And now the enemy has got into our camp circle at this late stage of the game, and now we have to respond. But thanks to the fact that we were aware, we were watching our map, and we knew that we would lose the other flank, we've lapped up that E100 in enough time. We've lapped up the western flank. Our team have cleared that flank thanks to your display of violence, of action, of aggression. And now you're able to fall back and defend base adequately and with enough time, because your forces that were engaged in that flank, that in another day would have been outflanked and boxed in by the enemy medium tank force coming out from the east, finished up their engagement quickly enough so they could come back as a force together and deal with this flank. And you've got to remember, in a real game situation, a lot of your team would be pushing around the west side, putting pressure on the enemy base. So, got one more situation to cover. Let's look in detail at it. Alrighty, Ensk again, and we have a heavy tank disadvantage. You see now we got T-29 versus 2 TSS. We're most likely gonna lose the western flank of the map, but I'm aware at this point the enemy has some TDs who might be garrisoned on the 9-0 line. But we've got a pretty good medium force. We've got a Batchat, we've got an E50M, we've got myself in the 140, we've got the Skoda T50, T54, and 2 light tanks, all coming up this 9-0 line with me. So that encourages me to take an aggressive location off the bat. So I go up to here in an attempt to encourage my team, but look at that on the other flank. Okay, that's the entirety of their team that's just attacked there. Their TDs have been spotted at J1 by a light tank yellowing on the one line. And wow, that's all of the enemy heavy, so I push forward, I kill the enemy light that was playing it aggressively on the 9-0 line. My Batchat's behind me and my light tanks are behind me. I'm pushing in as aggressively as I can because I know that our team are going to lose that western side of the map, and we kill the enemy RT. God damn, our T-29 is holding on like an absolute boss in that situation. Look at him! Oh, he's so manly! Oh my word, okay, so we're finally getting out behind him after pushing our entire medium tank force down that eastern flank after recognizing the advantage that the enemy had in the heavy tank engagement. And here we come to save the day. Why is that his frontal armor? Well, look at this T-57 heavy noob. What, he's showing his flat ass to the T-29. God damn, oh, my word, that's, but yeah, we get the drag wheel of the E5. And we're pushing around on that T-29. Oh, he's doing a lot to take that T-57 heavy down. Oh, look at this beautiful heavy tank combat that we've got here. Oh, my word. Oh, this is action-packed, but now the enemy are at a loss. They have been completely outflanked. They were too slow trying to push against the force that is the T-29. And now the mediums have come in from the other flank, basically the opposite of what we saw last game. They come up straight behind them, and now, together with what remains of our force here, we're going to be able to take this guy down with HE shells up his 38mm of arse armor. There we go, 437, eventually penning one. And God, he killed the T-29, guys. We're going to make this guy suffer. Suffer for your crimes, American scum. As he deserves, was it not? But a fine example of what I'm trying to demonstrate here, you need to have your eyes on the map and be ready to recognize this kind of situation where you've got a flat-out advantage on one flank or a flat-out disadvantage, whether you need to relocate back without even making the engagement, or whether you need to dive into the engagement head-on because it's only going to get worse for you and your team. Hopefully that has been helpful. I'm going to take you back to the T-7 Heavy game and we can watch the end of it together. Oh, by the way, a big thank you to everyone who helped out here. That was Ziggers. Who was it? Ziggers, Beaver Shaker, and the Goldness. Thank you very much for your help. Okay, so hopefully that was helpful to you. We're going to continue with our massive heavy tank firefight that we've got here. Obviously, I want to keep these guys spotted for my supporting fire that I got back there, as well as for the RT. The R7 is moving up. And we're going to take the same attitude again. I'm letting Korn lead because he's got the hit points. But at this point, the one thing we can't do is let the IS-7s just trade alpha damage like this. We've got to push forward and focus one of them down. Use the fact that we've got an autoloader because we just can't let them use that alpha damage advantage. The IS-7s don't have good DPM. They have long reloads with that high alpha damage gun. So our advantage is that we have quicker reloads and we've got that autoloader. We've got to put it to work and push our advantage in that regard. And you're going to see my Dystonia come into play there. Look at that. Just nope. And then I angle at 45 degrees, knowing the best angle to put on the IS-4. And you're going to see something remarkably odd. Just a T-28 just comes out of nowhere. Just of all the tanks. I mean, there's a fucking AMX-30. back there, but no, the T-28 is the one to push up over this land. I just thought that was that was so damn funny to me. And so there was an engagement that was won through the knowledge that we're talking about today. The fact that we were able to recognise that situation was going to go downhill fast if we didn't act. And it's often the case that people lose games because they're scared to make maneuvers, and they don't know what maneuver it is they might want to make. And that's why I hope that there goes corn. That's why I hope that this has been helpful in showing you how you can recognise these situations and how you can respond to them, because although for me now it seems very simple to recognise these situations when I see them in game, I do understand that it's hard when you're first sort of getting to this level of skill to recognise what's happening on the map. So gentlemen, hopefully this has been helpful to you, and until next time, farewell.
Jingle! Sure. No. It was at this moment that he knew he fucked up.
Can you stop camping, please, killer?